Hello my frugal friends, welcome back to our place for another video, or if you're new here then welcome. My name is Nikki, I'm an Aussie mum and I love sharing all the tips and tricks that have helped us just get more bang for our buck so that we can live the life we want. We are living in a caravan, which is the life we want. So we are traveling around Australia full time in our caravan. That has been the big financial goal that we've been working towards, and part of the way that we've been able to get here so that we can do this is by a lot of frugal living tips and tricks. These are things that have worked for us and continue to work for us even though we live in a caravan traveling around. We still have to be frugal and wise with our money and still get as much bang for our buck as we can so that we can keep living the life that we want, which is traveling. So that is pretty much the name of our game and what's going on around here. If that sounds like something that you might be interested in and you haven't already, hit that little subscribe button down below. It is the best way to stay up to date with all things that are happening at our place. It is a super easy way to help support our channel, and it doesn't cost you guys a simple thing. Just a little click down below, doesn't even hurt. It's amazing. Anyways, enough of that spiel. Today I need to do some meal planning, desperately need to do some meal planning for a couple of reasons. One, and the most important reason why I meal plan, is that it 100% saves us money, but it also helps save my sanity. When you are super busy, and that can be for all different reasons, different periods in our lives, we can just have these periods where we're super busy, and the idea of having to constantly think about food can be 100% exhausting, and that is certainly the situation that we're in at the moment. We're busy, we're on the go, we're in and out all the time. People seem to think that when you're traveling, it's all nice and relaxing and all the rest of it, but the reality is, like, we're super busy. We're just as busy, if not even busier than what we were when we were in a standing house, and we just had our day-to-day routines. It's probably even a little bit more difficult for us at the moment because we don't necessarily have a standard routine that just runs all the time. Like, you know, when your kids are in school and you've got your school term routine, it kind of doesn't really apply for us. Our routine and what's going on changes all the time depending on where we are, what we're trying to do, and a lot of other different factors. So meal planning is a really great way to help me save my sanity a little bit by taking away that extra burden of having to work out what's for dinner and lunch and snacks and breakfast. So meal planning really helps with that and makes it easier. Once that decision's been made, then we just have to go and look at the list and go, what are we going to do for dinner? I do have some tips that are going to help, or that help with us, so hopefully they help for you guys, to make meal planning work a little bit simpler. If you've struggled with it in the past, then stick around, because I'll share with what's working for us, and it sort of makes us stick to our meal plan, simplifies it, and keeps it on track. But yeah, that is one of the main reasons why we meal plan. And the other main reason that we meal plan is because it's a great way to save money. So I can actually be thinking about utilizing what's on special, what's on sale, the things that we already have, looking at our purchases at the supermarket and buying just what we need, rather than sort of walking around the supermarket aimlessly and just throwing stuff in the trolley because I don't know what we're going to want to eat. That is the quickest and easiest way to rack up a massive grocery bill, is just buying random stuff that you don't even know how it goes together, because guaranteed you're going to go cook a meal and there'll be something that you don't have, even though you bought half the supermarket last time you were there, and you're going to have to go back, and then the cycle repeats, and then you just buy more stuff that you don't really have a plan to use. So meal planning is really about just having a plan. We can go completely overboard with meal planning and make it super complicated and really hard to stick to, or we can make it really super simple. I opt for super simple because I know that I'm going to stick to it and use it. But even when it's super simple, we can have days like today, which is why I'm making this video, where the whole thing just seems a little bit too hard. So, backstory, we are just south of Perth and it is sweltering hot. We're going through a little bit of a heat wave here. There's some 40-degree days in some places. We've moved down the coast a little bit, so it's maybe not so bad, but it's still supposed to get up to like 37 or 38. And if you guys have ever been in a tin can on wheels with no inverter, so therefore no aircon, and you're just running fans, yeah, it's very hot. And a couple of things happen. Your brain melts a little bit, no joking. So a couple of things happen. Like, obviously you don't want to be inside preparing meals all the time, and then sometimes just thinking about food is just a little bit too hard. So anyways, I'm going to get back to that in a minute, but this is why we're here. I know that I need to meal plan because I know that I have to go grocery shopping tomorrow, because we are now at the point where the fridge and the pantry are just about empty. Hold that thought and let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is the reality of what we are dealing with. That is oats for breakfast. That is a little bit of cherry tomatoes and half a capsicum. There's beers in the back, so maybe all is not lost. I don't know. We have half a cucumber in a large container. We have 2 handfuls of salad mix. We have a bunch of random condiments, some very sad looking spring onions from several weeks ago that probably just need to go in the bin, some mushrooms that I'm not super excited about because, again, I know I'm going to have to cook them, a little bit of fruit left but not much. And on this side I've got some tomatoes, some carrots and some zucchini. But it gets worse. The pantries are not looking much better. I believe there is 1 muesli bar left in each of those boxes. Yeah, and pretty much everything is just starting to end up. I mean, we don't even have packets of oats at the back. So you guys who've been around for long enough know that we normally have about 4 packets of oats on hand. We don't even have any of those. Ooh, where's my handle? I can't even find it. So what we do have is a bit of a random selection. I do have some rice sticks or rice noodles, and some rice paper, and some nori sheets. I picked these up the other day in my little grocery haul from the Spud Shed. And I do have some plans for those, but again, requires some cooking. And not very much of anything else. So I don't have a lot in the way of tin stuff. I'm just about out of all of my tinned beans. I do have some down here that require cooking, but who wants to do that when it's almost 40 degrees? It probably is 40 degrees in the caravan. A little bit of rice, no pasta, and like I said, a bunch of dried beans, and these little goodies again that I picked up the other day. So that is where we're at. For us, not a lot of food on board, but I always start each meal plan, and so this is tip number 1. Always start a meal plan by looking at the things that we already have on hand and writing down a list. Now, usually what I try to do is to pick 3 things that I call my hit list, and these are things that I want to use up, because even if we're pretty good at meal planning, and even if we continue to utilize all of these tips and tricks that you see online about shopping your fridge and your pantry first and building a meal plan around the things you have, inevitably you always end up with little bits of extra stuff, because when you go shopping, you know, you're never buying the perfect quantity of everything for every single meal that you're going to cook and not have any random leftovers. There's always something random left over that needs to be used up. So if we're using those things up and we're making a conscious effort, then we're not wasting money by having something sit in the back of our pantry, or worse, sit in our fridge and actually go moldy and disgusting and have to be thrown out before we use it again. So start each meal plan by writing down a list of all the things that we've already got on hand, maybe jotting down a few ideas when we see things like, perhaps we go, oh, that's right, I do have rice paper rolls and I've got noodles, so we can probably do some fresh cold rolls or spring rolls, or whatever you call them. I call them spring rolls, but then, well, that tends to be a fried thing, so I don't know, ours won't be fried. So you guys can let me know in the comments what you guys actually call them when they're fresh spring rolls. They're not fried. But yes, I feel like that's probably going to go on the meal plan for next week, because I have almost everything that I need to do that. There's tip number 1, start with what you have. Tip number 2, create your hit list of 3 things that you want to use up, things that have been hanging around for a little bit longer than probably what you would maybe like to admit on a public forum like YouTube. But we all have these things that linger longer than we like, and we just need to use them up. So if we're creating a meal around using those things up, then we're not wasting money, and we are saving ourselves a couple of dollars by getting the most bang for our buck by using everything up before it goes yuck. So that is tip number 2. Tip number 3, be aware of what's going on in your life at the moment. Meal plans are great and I love them, and I love people who do free meal plans. They put them online for us to go and have a look at and get some inspiration from. But again, inspiration should be underlined, highlighted, capital letters, whatever you want to do, because the reality is, even though these plans are fantastic, they don't always fit in with exactly what's going on in our lives. So sit down and have a look at your calendar. What is coming up this week that I need to be aware of? Are you going to be out until 7 o'clock 5 nights this week because the kids have got stuff on like every night, or you've got massive work commitments and you're not going to go back? So if that's the case, then don't try and cram in really complicated dinners that take 3 hours to cook every single night. We need to sort of think about how our meals are going to fit in with our routine, with our daily life, with the things that are happening in our lives, in our real lives, and everybody is different. The other thing that I would say to check, and I say this because I am standing in my caravan and there is sweat running down everywhere and it's disgusting, check the weather. So you're not going to want to put things on your meal plan that are like stews and soups and roasts and all of those sort of big heavy hot meals if you're going to have a week of 40-degree heat. That's just kind of silly. But you know, in Australia we can go from one extreme to the other very quickly. So we might have a couple of hot days and then it'll cool down. So think about that when we're meal planning. Have a look at the weather, see what's coming up, see what's going to work. I can guarantee that this week coming up, there will be a lot of easy things, salads, things that I don't really have to cook, but also things that I don't really have to think too hard about. They're not too complicated. Chop a couple of things up, chuck them in a bowl, and we're going to call that dinner, as opposed to something that's complicated, that's going to have multiple steps involved. I need to pay attention to the recipe and stay on track. That's not going to happen when it's hot, because it's hot. And yeah, that's that. So that is tip number 3. Tip number 4 for a successful meal plan is pick things that you know that your family's going to like. Pick things that you know that you've liked in the past. And I know that can be really overwhelming. It's like almost like everything goes out of your brain the moment that you sit down to go and do a meal plan. You're like, I don't even know what food I like to eat anymore, because now I have to put it on paper. Which is where having a system like the system that I've been using for the last couple of years is really good. So this is my little handy dandy notebook. If you guys have been around for a little while, you've probably seen this before. But basically what I do each week, and this is this week, so it's not filled out yet, but I start by doing a use it up. So these are the things that I've got on hand that I know that I've got, that I know that I need to use up and I need to fill out. I write a list of things that I need to purchase, and then I write down a list of meal ideas. We're going to get to that step in a minute. But the reason why this is good is because I have weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of this. So I can go back and I can revisit earlier weeks and go, oh yeah, that was really nice when we did that. We enjoyed that. I'm going to put that on today's list. So I can go back and I can flick back to a meal plan where it was obviously quite a bit hotter. And I can have a look, not this one but anyways, this is where we're at. So I can go back and have a look, and I've got all these ideas here. So I can go back and I can revisit some of those things. The other thing that I can do with this is I can keep a note of was it a success, give it a tick, or if it wasn't successful, maybe cross it out. If I make something else, or I see something on Instagram or Pinterest or YouTube or whatever, I'll jot those ideas down in this. So even though we didn't eat it this week, it was an idea that I came across, and it'll pop back up in my, old school news feed, I suppose, if that's the way that you want to look at it. So keeping just a cheap old notebook like this with all of your weekly meal ideas, and then you're also using it, you're double dipping, so it does have your shopping list, and it's got a list of everything that you already have at home written down in it as well. So when you get to the supermarket and you're bedazzled by this amazing half price special on something, if you already have 15 of those at home, it's going to be on your use it up list. So you're going to be like, okay, maybe not this time. So that's another really good handy tip to help save money as well, not continuing to buy things that you're not using. All right, tip number, I'm not really sure what we're up to because like I said, it's very hot and I feel like I'm getting a sweat mo, is don't lock yourself into days of the week. So I do write down Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I write the 7 days down, but what I really should just have is bullet points. I want 7 bullet points. I could 1 to 7. It doesn't really matter how you do it. So I've got 7 ideas for dinner. Some of them are going to be more appropriate to certain nights, but I need to be able to be flexible with those things so I can swap that meal plan around if need be. Don't lock into, we have to eat this on Monday and we have to eat this on Tuesday. Be flexible, because you know what, maybe the wheels fall off on Tuesday and you need something that's quick and easy, and that was your idea for Saturday. It's okay to have it on Tuesday. Swap it around. It's okay also to have ideas there. So I'll write down the ideas and then I'll write down the main ingredients that I need for each one of those. And then maybe that was a great idea at the time, but it's just a little bit too complicated. But what are the things that I could use to make an alternate meal or recipe using the same or very, very similar ingredients, and make something different that's maybe a little bit easier on a busy night? Jot those ideas down too when you have them, because then next time it happens and you're looking for ideas and you go back through your little handy dandy notebook, it's all there and it's all written down. So that's enough talking from me. Hopefully that's enough of a pep talk for myself, because I now need to go and implement all of these tips and create a meal plan for next week. I'm not going to include it in today's video because my plan is that I'm going to do some recipes, some meal ideas, some family meal ideas for when it is stinking hot in summer and you don't want to cook. So that will be an upcoming video for you guys. I'm going to get some ideas together, some no cook or very basic low cook meals, so we're not heating up our kitchens in summer, or our entire little tiny homes if you live in a caravan. And quick and easy on the go, yummy, sizzling summer dinners to feed the family. That will be coming up very shortly, but I need to get the ideas. Tomorrow I need to go grocery shopping, then I'm going to cook it all up, put it into a video for you guys, so you'll probably be in about a week's time. But I'm now super excited. I'm now pumped to go meal planning. I hope you are too. I hope today's video helped with some tips. These are the things that are working for us, but I would love to hear from you guys. So let me know in the comments, what are the meal planning tips that are working for you? What is it that you love and that is making meal planning not only easier, but what is it that's making it so that you stick to it? Because that is the most important thing. We can all have these wonderful tips and theories on how we save money, but it's no use if we're not implementing them. So what are the things that are helping you guys implement your meal plan but also stick to it? I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed today's video, if you found it useful, if you could please give it a thumbs up. I really do appreciate that as well. It lets me know the kind of content you guys are enjoying, what you're liking, what's helpful. And again, if you are enjoying it and you haven't already, now's your last chance to go and hit the little subscribe button before this video is over. It is always such a wonderful thing to connect with you guys in the comments. So again, let me know what you're thinking down below with your meal planning tips that are helping you guys stick to it. Keep it super uncomplicated. Keep it simple. I won't say stupid, but the KISS principle, definitely. That's where we're rolling these days. Hope you guys are having an absolutely fantastic week, and I do hope to catch up with you in my next video. Until then, take care, my friends, and we'll talk soon. Bye.